Hello, everybody, and welcome back to One Hub Racing. We are here on a Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock for the P4 tier. And joining me in the commentary box for an unusual, unplanned commentary session is, of course, none other than Colin Mason. How are you this evening, Colt?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Nick. This is going to be a great race. I love Silverstone. It's in the dry, which means drivers are going to be flat out every lap. It's going to be great. And it's very difficult to call this tier. We've had multiple podium sitters. Can anyone new break into that top three? It'd be nice to see.
Yeah, Jamie, of course, getting a win last week. We always love it when a fellow admin team member takes the win. Not so much that, we get to see Jamie's reactions on stream, which when he puts his POV in, where he usually shouts as he crosses the line. It's great to see that, for some drivers, Colt, it means so much to them when they get a good result in the league.
Yeah, exactly. We're all very, very competitive. A lot of us have been doing this a very, very long time as well. And so we're really, really keen, to do well. And when drivers do well and they're really happy, it's brilliant. It's lush to see.
Alrighty, well, as you mentioned, Silverstone here tonight, one of my favourite tracks, and my first time with the PlayStation on since the finale of Season 27. But here we are, Season 28, Round 4 around Silverstone, 26 laps. Of course, there will be a lobby restart in between qualifying and the race. And Cole, I believe you got a driver with a grid penalty.
Yes, so Jamie has decided to take his gearbox penalty. Now, that means that Jamie has done all his car wear, which is very, very interesting. So he's all set now. So after today, he will not need to take any further grid penalties from car wear. Fox is also taking his engine as well. So he's going to have a 10-place grid penalty, and Jamie's going to get 5. We do have a couple of grid penalties from the stewards as well, and that is Lynn Falk, and he gets a 6th-place grid penalty.
So a few penalties that need to be applied in between the lobby restarts. And I tell you what, Cole, we did see a red flag in one of the tiers, I think not last week, possibly the week before, which is exciting. So that's one of I think the only setting that's changed between Season 27 on F1 25 and Season 28 on F1 25 is increased red flags. Will we see any of those tonight? We will have to wait and see. But Colt, what's the weather going to be like?
So we obviously did the stream this morning and we went through the weather. The race is going to have clear weather, so perfect conditions. The race is going to have clear, light cloud, and then clear. So no rain for the drivers to worry about, which is stark contrast to Season 27 round this circuit because it was hammering down.
Yeah, I remember it was mixed conditions, didn't it? And it caused a lot of drivers who use the racing line some proper grief, me being one of them, because there was the glitch, wasn't there, where the racing line wasn't correct for the conditions that the weather was in. So, clear in Silverstone. 14 drivers at the moment. We're waiting for Lingfelt to join the session at some point during the qualifying. Cole, can we get 4 runs in round here during qualifying, or is it too tight?
I don't think you can quite do it. It is obviously still worth going for the softer tyre strategy, because if you, knacker a lap or you invalidate, you can come straight back in the pit lane and put another set of softs on. So you can still get those 3 runs in. But I think 3 runs maximum these drivers are going to be able to fit in today.
Yeah, of course, a long pit lane. So, obviously, all drivers during the 50% race will have to come into the pit lane twice because the mandatory 2-stop that we operate here in One Hub Racing. But onto the track in the qualifying session. Jamie, of course, leading the championship here in the P4 tier. A former champion with One Hub Racing would like to become a double world champion. But a long way to go in this season, Cole. Round 4 of 12, and 4 races so far, and it's been dry weather all the way. So we do expect to see some rain later into the season.
Yeah, it's bound to come. It's coming later than I thought. I thought we would have had a wet affected session by now. But the racing gods have decided you're not going to get any wet weather racing yet. But it just means that the likelihood of rain in the next couple of races is even more likely.
Round Luffield, these drivers are going. I've sat there myself in the stands. Great corner. One of those corners, Cole, where you see drivers taking all sorts of different lines. You know, a lot of corners on the F1 calendar today with these Formula One cars, drivers take all the same lines. Whereas Luffield's one of those where you see some drivers hug it tight, you see some drivers go in wide and cut back in. So yeah, really interesting corner, Luffield.
Yeah, oddly, it's probably my favourite section on this track, simply for that reason, because I feel as though that I've got an opportunity to gain time on some drivers there, because there's so many different ways you can take that corner. But yeah, what a stunning circuit this is. Proper old school track, plenty of grass, very, very fast, a stunning track. Of course, the original layout many years ago, they were the service roads for the airstrip that was used in the 40s during the war. So that is the old sort of rough layout of the track. They've obviously updated it since and made it even more exciting.
Yeah, riding on board with Jack Craig, second in the championship. He's had a good start to the season, so I think he's going to be the first driver to cross the line. And looks a pretty tidy lap so far, hitting all the apexes that he needs to, going mid. So Jack choosing to go mid Luffield there, so not too tight to the apex, not too wide to cut back, just carrying a bit more speed through the corner. And coming up to Copse here, got to be careful, a little bit of a lift as the rear slides slightly. You can take it flat in qualifying, but you've got to absolutely nail that turn in and through this beautiful series of corners where you can just chuck the car in and it absolutely sticks. And then onto the hanger straights. Of course, DRS will be open, managing errs as we head down to Stowe. This is one of my favourite corners on the game as a couple of drivers set some lap times, 27.6, 27.8. Jack Craig goes wide. Is that going to be an invalidation?
I think he's got away with it, yeah, so he's coming through the club chicane now. Now he nails the throttle, flat out now to the line. What's it going to be? It's a 28.194, puts him into P4. A solid banker lap from Jack there.
Yeah, interesting that that wasn't a invalid lap time, because he definitely went all 4 wheels off the track, but as you said, depends the speed you're carrying, as Curly sets a 27.2, so slots into third place at the moment. Joel, 26.9, so plenty of times coming in thick and fast. What about King Bryce and the Sauber? Kick is going to cross the line at 28.5, and what can King Bryce do as he comes to finish his lap? It's going to be in the 29s, or 29.5, so at the back of the field for the Aston Martin as they were today.
Yeah, so Joel leads, not by a lot, you must say, just over a tenth in front of Crawford. 2 Alpines sitting perfectly at the minute, 2 and 3. They'll be very pleased with those setups of laps.
So drivers will come back into the pits. Of course, doesn't matter what they do to the tyres in qualifying, because obviously we will have the lobby restarts, so they can abuse these soft tyres as much as they like. Really slow pit lane here as well, which makes it even longer, and a busy pit lane as we're riding on board with Joel. So provisional pole sitter at the moment, as you mentioned, Cole. The 2 Alpines just behind in second and third. What is the Constructors' Championship looking like? McLaren are leading the way on 65 points. 62 points, we've got Mercedes, 49 Red Bull, 44 Haas. So all those 4 teams are pretty close. Then you got Alpine on 32. They scored big last time out with 23 points. 29 points is Williams, 21 is Ferrari, and then you've got Kick Sauber on 0, Aston Martin on -2, and Racing Bulls, the RB, on -5.
Oh wow! So it's very, very close at the top between the McLaren and the Mercedes. That feels as though that's going to be a season-long battle, especially with Jack performing very, very well. Just the one Mercedes here at the minute. So it's all down to Jack today to maximise the points for Mercedes.
Yeah, and in the Drivers' Championship, you got the top 7 drivers separated by 11 points. So it's really exciting here in the P4 tier. Of course, Colt, last season we were commentating on the P3 tier, which was our bottom tier, but for season 28, we're up to 4 tiers. So 80 drivers or so racing on a Sunday afternoon, evening at One Hub Racing. Colt, what more could we want?
Yeah, isn't it brilliant to get 4 tiers? You know, there's a lot of leagues out there and they're struggling, you know, and One Hub is growing, and it just shows all the hard work, you know, that the admins have put in has really paid off. And you know, we try to get a brilliant experience for all drivers, you know, not just the top boys, but everyone all the way down, you know, from P1, P2, P3 and P4, and it's it really showing dividends. So we got some brilliant characters, you know, in our community as well, you know, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, definitely. It's you know, it's not just about winning; it's about the further community, and you know, we all share a passion, Colt, and it's Formula One. And I expect a lot of these drivers, because they don't have to go and buy a new game. It's obviously going to be a DLC for F1 26. What about the cost is going to be?
Yeah, that's one thing that I've been very curious to see. I'm guessing, and it is a guess, probably around £25, I would say, £20 to £25. But that we will have to wait and see, and that could shake up the order as well. But drivers pretty used to F1 25 now. This is our second season, so drivers aren't so much getting used to the game, more about maximising their lap time as much as they can. Let's hope that these drivers can put on a good show for us today. Kenzie is on his outlap. He is the only driver so far yet to set a time.
So, choosing to leave it slightly later, the Williams driver. Always strange, well, I feel, this livery that Williams are running, just to see the orange on the Williams. But I always love the Duracell bit at the top, canopy there, for the engine cooling. I think the way it's done, Cos, looks really clever.
Oh, it's brilliant. Whoever thought of that deserves a medal. You know, Williams have done some fantastic liveries in the past. You know, the famous 90s livery with the yellow, blue and white really, really stood out. You know, and it's a fan favourite, you know. And Williams have always very, very good at coming up with great liveries. And this one, I love it. I think it's fantastic.
So I think Linkfolk is in. You might have saw me on stream just sending him an invite. So he's in. So we're up to 15. Riding on board with Kenzie, as Cole mentioned, the last driver yet to set a lap time. And going through this beautiful section, Maggot, Beckett's, Chapel, onto the hangar straight. Yellow flags out there for somewhere. No improvements at the top at the moment. I think possibly Ocken just improved to 27.5. A few drivers coming into the pits. Jamie's into the pits now as well, so maybe some aborted laps here. But what can Kenzie do as he comes across the line? It's going to be in the 30s. It's a 30.5, so back of the field at the moment.
That seems a big improvement from Kenzie's previous qualifying efforts, I must say. The gap is certainly closing for Kenzie. He's definitely making improvements without a shadow of a doubt. Jamie doing his, he must have been channeling his inner devil, because he's got 27.666, which I just spotted.
Joel, our current pole sitter Cole, is coming towards the end of another flying lap. He was up by a tenth and a quarter after 2 sectors, and look at that, Mark Crawford steals the provisional pole, and look at the reply. It's not an improvement from Joel, but those two are very close at the top there on the front row.
Aren't they just? Joel in that beautiful white Red Bull car, just half a tenth or so away from getting pole. A great lap from Mark there. That's a really, really good lap from the Alpine driver. You know, he's really, I've seen dramatic improvements from him over the last few races as well. He really is putting his marker down in this tier now.
There's a car off the road there at Copse whilst the Aston Martin goes through of King Bryce. The other Aston Martin of Fox jumps up into 6th position with a 27.6. So still looking pretty tight. We've got, what, a second covering the top 11, Cole. So plenty to play for around here, Silverstone. What can King Bryce do as he heads through Stowe? I love this corner, Cole, in Stowe, especially in qualifying when you can just chuck it in and you just have that confidence that you know it's going to stick. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, it's a stunning set of corners. It really is. You know, and it's quite surprising, you know, because these drivers will probably be running quite low wings as well, and still they've got that confidence and grip to push as hard as they can in quali. It is absolutely brilliant to watch, I must say, as we got a yellow flag in sector 3.
Wonder who that's for. Possibly an Aston Martin, who looks to be just in front of a McLaren's coming into pits. Gamer James, by the way, is on a flying lap at the moment. He does have an Aston Martin in front of him, who I believe has completed his lap. So that was definitely, Aston Martin goes onto the grass. Obviously didn't see him, but that was definitely a block. Which, Colt, we've had a few this season, haven't we, that have been reported to the stewards. A bit frustrating because so easily avoidable. Oh, as Gamer James almost spins it.
That was a very, very good catch, to be honest. I thought he was going to be disappearing into the inside wall. He's got enough time to come back to the pit lane and have another stab. But yeah, you are right. We have had quite a few impeding penalties in season 28, unfortunately. Just hopefully the drivers will get a little bit more aware of, you know, not only where they are, but where other cars are, especially during qualifying. I like my dad's method, where he, on his in lap and on his out lap, he's pretty much flat out. So chances are that he'll hold anyone up is very, very remote.
Yeah, I used to have to do the same, Call, but that was just to get some bloody temperature into my tyres, not through
Yeah.
not through choice. As Curly crosses the line up in 3rd position, he does improve by a 10th. I don't think he's going to be able to come into the pits, get another set of tyres, so I imagine that he's either going to be fueled for 2 runs or that's his session done. What about the Red Bull? Reaper in 4th position at the moment. What can he do? Can he improve? Obviously, the drivers who are setting lap times now, Cole, they won't have time to come back into the pits.
Oh, this is going to be the end. Oh, and look at that. Reaper puts it on provisional pole with a 26.802. That's an impressive lap time from the Red Bull driver, that is. But a great lap from Curly as well. Now, we obviously had Curly in the morning show. In the pre-race show, we had a little chat with him, and his target is top 10. He's currently P4, so he will be delighted with that lap.
Nightclear, the Ferrari coming through the middle section of the track, invalidates. So you see the track map go completely red. That means he has invalidated. So perhaps if he backs off, or will he have time to come into the pits now? He might, because he's not going to have to do an in-lap. But Fox now heading out. You got Mark, Joel still in the pits, as is Jamie, your championship leader at the moment. Shiesty is, I think, on a quick lap.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think he is. Let's have a look, see what he does. He exits club carries very good speed. Let's have a look what the lap time is. It's a 27.4. It's a big improvement and puts him up into 5th place.
Ocon comes into the pits after invalidating. 2 minutes, Cole. I don't think that's enough time to get in and out. So I think Ocon's session is over. 27.5 will be the best he can do. You'll see all those other outlap messages on the right-hand side. Those are the drivers who have left it to the very last minute, Cole. Why might drivers be leaving it as late as possible to come out?
Yeah, so of course, the later you leave it in the session, the more grip you've actually got. So as the session progresses, the cars are going round, they are laying rubber down, which means that you're going to get more and more grip laid down on the circuit, so you'll be able to take the corners as quick, a lot quicker than what you would have done at the start of the session. So the drivers are desperate to leave it as late as they dare. And you can see you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drivers on their outlaps preparing for their final run, and we're going to be in for a barnstorming final couple of minutes now.
So Shiesty is not on a hot lap. Is he going to come into the pits? Yeah, so he's coming into the pits, so he's done. So 4th and 5th at the moment, Curly and Shiesty have got their laps in early. And you got Joel, who's just starting. Of course, he was on provisional pole. His teammates taking that at the moment with a 26.8. That's the target. What can Mark do in the Alpine? He's just starting his lap. Jamie, your championship leader. We know he's taking a new engine, so he'll have 10 places added on to his grid position. 10 for an engine, 5 for a gearbox. Yellow flags in sector 2. That is Fox, who is waiting on the side of the track. Careful you don't get disqualified, but obviously waiting for some cars to pass. Gonna have to get back on the grass as there's a couple. Now's your time before the next car comes on. Reaper won't be improving from his 28. So what can the boys do? Mark is a 10th up, a 10th down compared to his previous. What about Joel? Joel was a little bit on the grass there. As he is again, what's he going to do? Now he's 2 tenths up.
That is quite a big amount. If he can continue that momentum, he will take pole position. Can he do it in the Red Bull Honda? He goes round Stowe very well, I must say. Comes into the final chicane.
I think he's invalidated, Cole. Sorry.
Yeah,
I think
you're right, he has. No, you're dead right, he did, yeah. So that is Joe's session done and dusted. He'll be very disappointed, especially being nearly 2 tenths up.
Jamie's into the pits. He didn't finish his lap either, so he'll be starting from last. Mark can't improve, so anyone else? Fox, obviously we saw off the track. So that is your session complete. Reaper takes pole position in Silverstone.
Brilliant, an absolutely fantastic lap, but look how close it is, especially the top 4. 0.8, 0.9, 0.9, 27.1. Very, very close. I think the drivers that are going to be the happiest there is definitely Reaper putting it on pole, and Curly there up in 4th position. You know, he's hoping for a top 10 in the race, maybe top 8. So he's going to be delighted with that. He's put himself in the perfect position.
So we will wait for this session to end. And then we will it'll load into the race, but we'll ignore that, and we will be restarting. Just saying it's a gearbox for Jamie, not an engine, sorry. So only a 5 place. Do you just want to run us through the results, Colt?
Yeah, certainly. So Reaper takes pole position. Then we have Crawford, Joel Flats in 3rd, Curly in 4th, Shiesty in 5th, Ocon in 6th, Jack Craig in 7th, Jamie in 8th, Knightley in 9th, James takes out the top 10. Then we have Foxy, Helvetica, King Bryce, and Kenzie in the Williams will start 14th.
Of course, Lingfelt has joined the session, but didn't set a time, so he'll be starting last. But of course, as you said, we do have some. He had I think a 6th place grid penalty anyway from the stewards, so he'll be starting last regardless. So we're going to load into this lobby. Hopefully no driver leaves the session. We'll quickly get it underway, and then we'll be back in the lobby. Cole, have you missed commentating this season? Obviously, you've been a reserve, same as me.
Yeah, I have actually, to be fair. Unfortunately, I haven't got the time to be able to commit for every Sunday commentary. But, you know, I have missed it, I got to be honest. Especially, you know, watching, for me, the bottom tier is always my favourite. Always has been. The drivers, there's not big egos in there. You know, they're all very grateful to be racing, and it's always good battling, and always nice comments after the race as well, and that's what I love about the lower tiers. As you can see, all the drivers crashing into the wall. Let's hope that's not a repeat. For anyone that saw the real Australian Grand Prix this morning, that was that could have almost ended up like that with the Alpine towards the back. But so the drivers now, so for anyone who's new to the stream wondering what on earth is going on, so we do a lobby restart after qualifying. So this means that we can apply any grid penalties for any infringements or for our car wear mechanism. And as Nick has previously stated, it's 10 places for an engine and 5 for a gearbox. But hasn't Jamie put himself in a great position now with his car wear completely done? And he's done it, Nick, for dry races.
Yeah, of course, things to consider when taking a new engine or gearbox. So every driver has to do it at some point during the season, usually somewhere between round 2 and the last round 12 of the season, because the gearbox and engine won't last. If you DNF, you get double the laps of wear for that round. If you just finish, you get however many laps that round is, and eventually your engine and your gearbox will come to the end of its life. So you've got to take it at some point. Do you take it at tracks where there's high safety cars? Do you take it at tracks where it's easy to overtake? I mean, ideally, you'd want to take it at a track that is dry, but drivers won't know that, Cole, because the weather doesn't get announced until Sunday morning on the pre-race show. So, Jamie must be very happy having taken both of his new car parts, which obviously both races have ended up being dry, and it's easier to move forward through the field when it's dry.
Yeah, exactly. I obviously elected to take my 10-place grid penalty for changing my engine this race as well. I did it as tactically as I thought, because I feel as though my race pace is pretty good round Britain, which means that I can do some overtaking. And I think this is what Jamie was thinking as well. And, of course, Fox in the Aston Martin.
So Jake in the stream is saying the Alpine and the Red Bulls with that pace are going to join Merc and McLaren in the fight for sure. Well, that's exactly what we want as viewers and spectators. The more action, the more excitement, the better. Incidents, obviously, we don't want, but sometimes they can't be avoided. Add to the controversy, add to the rivalry. It's all to play for here in the P4 tier. Of course, only round 4 of season 28. Got plenty left to go. I think we're on break week next week, Cole, because it's Mother's Day in the UK.
Yes, yeah, Mother's Day in the UK on the Sunday. So we're going to have a little bit of a break. And we'll be back. And let me check the calendar, because I can't remember, because I've got a memory like a sieve. And we'll be back on the 22nd of March for, Nick, your favourite track, Hungary.
Yes, always a great track. It's the one track years ago when I switched from the pad to the wheel, that for me it just brought a smile to my face. The comparison, having to drive Hungary on the pad compared to on the wheel, Cole, was just so much more fun. So obviously, when I used to drive on the pad, I used to race with the D-pad. So Hungary was a bit of
I don't know, you did that. I'm still trying to work it out.
Thumb busting session, but still pretty quick on the D-pad though.
Well, yeah, especially, one thing I will say is I think the Formula One game has changed quite considerably, and I don't think it's going to be possible to do it on this game now with the D-pad. But we do have a mix of drivers, using controller, and they are blindingly fast with it as well. Lukey in the P2 tier, he's on controller.
J. Coles, I
Chris
think.
in the P2. Yeah, Owen, I think's on controller. I
Yeah.
think Owen is a controller driver as well. So just because you're on a controller does not mean you're going to be slow. Drivers are proving that they can be rapid on the controller as well as the wheel.
What's great as well is since the Codemasters Formula One games went crossplay, we have a real mixture of drivers, and you can literally see that looking at the screen now, between the PS, the PlayStation, obviously the Xbox. Jamie's saying as a tier coordinator, we set the grid and we're ready to go. But yeah, a real mixture of different platforms, Cole, and that's enabled the community and One Hub Racing to grow. And we've made some real good additions to the league by being able to expand beyond just PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly that. And that is shown by the mix in nationalities as well. I mean, you look at the different flags down there. We got drivers from all over the world racing. We got a few Americans. I'm not sure what time it is out in America, to be honest, but I think it's probably going to be quite later into the evening, I think. Any Americans in the chat can help me out.
I think it's the morning. I think it might be the morning.
Might be the morning, is it? But it's brilliant to see such a range of nationalities here.
I think there's the Malaysian flag as well up there. I saw one of the drivers. So, Fox confirming it's the morning. So it's great to see. And Cole, we've shipped, obviously, drivers that finish in the top 3 will get trophies, and the Constructors Championship will get trophies shipped to them. And that's something I take care of on my duties within the admin team. But we've shipped trophies all over the world. And, we've been doing this, season 28. So for 27 seasons, we've shipped trophies. So we're talking hundreds of trophies we've shipped to drivers all over the world. So really exciting and a special time, I think, for the league it is at the moment.
Yeah, I think the league's in the best position it's ever been in, to be honest. I know I'm completely biased, but there isn't a person on this planet who will persuade me otherwise. I believe this is the greatest league out there. It's the most immersive. You name me another league that will do a stream to explain the stewarding decisions that we do every week. That doesn't happen. That doesn't even happen in
real Formula One.
In real Formula One, which I think they should do, to be honest. I think they're missing a trick there. And this is one of the reasons I think why our league has grown and why we've got such a strong community, and like new drivers that joined last year, Mikey, for example, this sounds bad, but it feels as though he's been with us for years.
It's because he's got a loud mouth.
Because he's yeah,
and he's always in the steward's office, so we get to see him drive so often.
Yeah, I feel as though I've watched 4 hours of his footage. No, he's yeah. So, but it's this banter as well, that makes the community what it is. There's good fun. It's not just serious who's winning all the time. It's more than that. And I think that's what the drivers are embracing as well. And it's a credit to the drivers, because they're the ones who make the community as good as it is,
Well, speaking of drivers, they'll be sitting on the grid, Cole, loading their setups, choosing their strategy, choosing their fuel. Just quickly, obviously, the lights could go out any second. What sort of strategy are we looking at here today?
Well, I looking at it, I think there's going to be a mix between drivers deciding to go with 2 hard tyres and 2 medium tyres. So I think you're going to see that type of mix. Now, we may, and I mean may, see a couple of drivers risk it on the softs, and maybe do a soft medium hard or soft hard stint. But that we'll have to wait and see. And of course, safety cars, Nick, that could have a big impact on the strategy as well.
Yeah, and of course, if there's a chance to pit under a VSC or a safety car around this track, you want to take advantage of that because you lose so much less time. But 5 red lights, Cole, here for round 4 in Britain. 15 drivers on the grid, and away we go. The Red Bull gets away pretty well. Looks like everyone's got away pretty well. A high-speed corner here. We'll try and catch everyone. There's one Ferrari slightly wide in the background. Who's this? McLaren going down the inside. Shiesty on Joel, so that looked a mega move. And a couple drivers going wide, but no one facing the wrong way from what I can see. Everyone behaving themselves. King Bryce at the back with the Sauber, and Linkfelt moving up already into 10th position, so battling with Kenzie. But Reaper kept the position, kept the pole, and is leading this race. And you can see all the drivers come through Luffield now. We've got yellow flags. 2 drivers going side by side, and Fox just staying ahead of Nightclear at the moment as we head towards Cops. Kemsey, not sure what happened to him, but he is on the exit Luffield down in 15th place. Oh, less than 5 seconds off, so mustn't have been a big incident. Plenty of laps to catch up. And, of course, once that DRS opens on lap 2, Cole, lap 3, it's everything to play for.
Yeah, a brilliant start by all drivers. Got to give him credit. Perfectly clean start. But Reaper, what a getaway he had. He absolutely nailed that start. He was half a second ahead of Crawford, even before they got into turn 2. Oh, as he takes a big chunk of the sausage curve there. And you can see how much Crawford has gained on him in that corner.
Yeah, look at this, down into turn 1. Flat there, and look at this. This is going to... So it just shows you one mistake can change everything. Is he going to try and look down the inside? Nope. Thought a little bit about it, but Reaper managing to keep the position. So, Cole, we've only got 3 drivers on the soft tyre that you said a few of them might try. That Shiesty in 3rd explains why he got such a good start. Linkfelt, again, why he got such a good start. And Fox in 10th position. So 3 drivers on the soft compounded tyres. Everyone else choosing to go with the medium compound. Your championship leader, Jamie, is down in 8th position. But plenty of racing here to play for. Let's look down the back, 14th and 13th place. These two are nearly side by side. Great racing there from Helvet Teka, who just kind of lifted off slightly there. Didn't fancy too much of a risky move this early on. Cole, sensible driving.
Yeah, that was good driving. Worth a look, but like you said, it's a long way to go yet. But if we look at the biggest movers, Lindfalk up 6 places. Up in P9 already. What a start from him.
Here comes the change for the race lead. Sorry, Cole. And Mark went deep into Stowe. Did gain the position. Reaper squeezed him all the way to the inside. So obviously difficult to see your braking point when you're that far on the inside. And Reaper then just did the switch back and was able to get the position back and get a bit of a lead out of it as well. So that really costing Mark slightly. Obviously still within DRS. Joel all over the back of Shiesty at the moment. Are those soft tyres starting to struggle already? I wouldn't have thought so. Curly all on the back as well of this train. He's got a great exit coming onto the Wellington straight. Difficult to get a pass done into here unless you want to use a big chunk of hers.
Yeah, Curly's sitting in a very, very nice position in P5 at the minute in the Alpine. Like you said, we got 3 drivers on the softs. We got Shiesty, Lindfalk and Fox. Now, those softs are not going to last that long, but they are going to get the advantage of a nice early undercut, so if they can box a little earlier. As Oaken runs very wide round Cops, but just about manages to keep it in a straight line.
Fox running wide there as well on the exit. That enables Nightclear to close down. So we can see that at the front here, that gap is still within a second. The closest gap at the moment is Joel on the back of Shiesty, who of course doesn't have DRS because he is out that 1 second of the car in front. Might be able to try and get it back as they start the next lap. Reaper almost there. And look at that, the McLaren goes wide. Is that going to allow the Alpine and Joel in the Red Bull to take advantage? I think Joel had to lift off slightly there, which enabled Curly to close up. Ocken is right there now as well, Cole. Jack's there. And Jack's trying to go around the outside of Ocken. There's a Racing Bull just struggling to stay on the track. Jack switching back to the outside as Ocken goes to the inside. This is great racing.
This is brilliant racing. But it's almost certain to me now that Shiesty's soft tyres are already struggling. You can see that he's struggling on traction and on turning. He's got a bit of understeer in that car as well. So I don't think it's going to be long before Shiesty decides he's had enough of those soft tyres. But what battling we've got. And look at Joel now. He's really attacking him.
Yeah, all over the back. Obviously running slightly wide there. The dirty air through Copse isn't very enjoyable, but there's a chance here to perhaps get the job done. Obviously it depends on setups as well. You know, Cole, who's running the lower downforce, getting more straight line speed. Mark is closing in again on Reaper. I don't think he'll be able to have a shot this time around. Joel, same thing for him. Jamie and Jack obviously in 7th and 8th, your top two in the championship at the moment. And just biding their time, it seems. And I feel like Lingfeld's just catching up to this pack as well, just on the second mark behind Jamie.
Yeah, I looked at Shiesty's straight line speed, and it looks very, very strong. So I'm thinking that Shiesty's gone for a lower downforce setting, specifically against Joel, because Joel, he can't really get alongside of him in the DRS.
Tell you who seems to be really strong through Sector 1, and that's Ocon. Every time we go through this initial sector, that series of corners there by Village, and that he really is able to close up. Look, he's closing up again through Brooklands and Luffield here. Perhaps he's running slightly more downforce or just more comfortable on the brakes, but he's pulled away from Jack on the exit there. And then you can see here, I think Jack closes on him and he doesn't really gain too much on the car in front. So just perhaps different setups. And look at this. Is this going to be a change for third position? Going side by side, Shiesty just saves it.
That was absolutely astonishing. What a move by Joel, and what a catch from Shiesty. I was convinced he was in the wall. That was absolutely brilliant driving. You know, that's the type of driving that you'd expect to see in a top tier race. You
into
know,
the pits.
These guys are in P4. Brilliant.
So that's Curly coming into the pits, not Shiesty. So on those medium tyres, he's had enough already, perhaps going for a nice undercut. We did see Mark try and take the lead off Reaper, but Reaper had him covered. We were on board, obviously, with that battle just behind. And you can see, who is this? That's Fox under pressure now from the other Ferrari of Nightclear. And let's ride on board with this. Is he going to wait, try anything? Oh, touching that big sausage curve. You can see how much it lifts the car in the air.
Yeah, it's quite violent, isn't it? You really want to avoid those sausage curbs. Both of those drivers hit it. You can see how violently it affected the car. Fox still keeping Nightclear behind him at the minute. He's still on those soft tyres. Oh, as Fox, he just cut that first car part of the left field corner, and that gives him a 3-second time penalty, so that will not please him.
So Jack has got ahead of Ocken somewhere that we missed. Curly's gone onto the hard compounded tyres, and now Jamie is on the back of Ocon as well. So Shiesty on those soft compound tyres, as is Fox. Those two drivers, you'd expect not to be too many laps longer before they decide. Obviously 2 stops here, Cole, every driver has to make, so you don't want to spend too long on a worn set of tyres. And who's that into the pit?
Yes,
Jack?
I think that is Jack coming in the pit lane.
And
Yes,
Jamie.
it is. And Jamie's in the pit lane as well. Nice to see the drivers avoiding any pit lane speed limits at the minute. But Curly, now, if he's gone for the harder compound strategy, meaning that he gets 2 sets of hards, I feel as though he's played an absolute blinder here, because he's got himself into a bit of clear air. He's got Kenzie ahead of him, but he's got the DRS for him. He could do the mother of all undercuts here and possibly come out in the pits in P3.
Yeah, well, interestingly, Lingfeldt is right behind him, so he's going to drag Lingfeldt along and potentially back into this race. Where are these guys going to come out? They are coming out ahead of Jack, Craig, and Jamie. Yeah, so those two drivers behind. So Lingfelt has done a brilliant undercut here. And he's actually kind of in this battle for the top 5 positions now, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. This strategy has worked out really well for them at the minute. Yes, they're going to have to stretch these tyres a little longer than the other drivers.
We've had a change for the lead. Sorry, Cole. Before,
sorry.
Maybe that was an incident at Cop. Someone went right, but Reaper is going to look to take the position back. And no, Mark brakes late and covers it at the moment. So Mark taking the lead of this race on lap 7, and Reaper is coming into the pits, carries a decent amount of speed, gets the car slowed down, no penalty, good racing there. Ocon follows him in, there's a car as well, Joel also coming in, drivers being very well respectful of that pit lane entry point, and Gamer James also, so great job. We've got 5 drivers into the pits, make that 6 as Night Clear joins them. So this is really going to, a couple more as well coming in. So this is really going to show us kind of what the order is.
It really is. Welcome to Rydog in the chat. Afternoon, mate. Yeah, this is going to be very interesting now. And look at that. Curly setting the fastest lap of the race, a 30.9 on his fresh hard compound tyres. And sure enough, there he is, look, in 4th place. And I think he is going to be technically P3 once King Bryce boxes. This is brilliant. Look at the fight we've got around there. That's brilliant. Who's that? That's Jack. Jack leading the...
A couple of cars going off as well.
Oh!
I think that was Joel and Ocon both going wide. So, look, yes, I mean, look at Lingfelt. He started last, remember? He made that early stop. Yes, he's got a 3-second time penalty, but he was tucked into Curly's DRS and into slipstream with DRS and just kind of followed through. And now he's very, very well in this fight. Joel, of course, for most of qualifying, was on provisional pole. Now down in 9th position. Just the top 2 yet to complete their pit stops.
Yeah, Joel be wondering what on earth happened coming out in 9th. Mikey in the chat saying Helvetica and Fox had a big crash on the pit entry, so that explains Fox's position down there, but we still got plenty of racing left. We're only on lap 9, Nick. Plenty of time left to make up.
Yeah, look at this group of cars all the way down. Obviously Reaper's got a little bit of a gap now, but you got Curly, you got Lingfelt, you got Jack, you got Shiesty, you got Jamie, you got Joel, Okan, all in that fight. And where is Mark going to come out in comparison to these guys? It's behind Lingfelt. So Lingfelt has got himself up into the podium position.
Absolutely brilliant. And Curly, I thought he might have got into P3. He's effectively got into P2, which is absolutely brilliant. And Lynn Falk, I mean, what a stroke of genius. Now he's got to drag these tyres now, Nick. Because he did box quite early. If he can drag these mediums out and then I suspect go on to some hards, he's going to be really in a good position. I mean, starting last and already up to P4. What a start.
Helvetica's coming in for another stop, so 2 laps in a row. Apparently there was contact between himself and Fox as they came into the pits last time around. I did see them very close to each other. As they were driving through the pit lane speed limiter section. And look at this, Mark on the back of Lingfelt, able to get the position done, obviously on those fresher compounded tyres. So Alpine 3rd and 4th at the moment. And Mark, you know, he's lost 5 seconds to Reaper, or more than 5 seconds, a little bit more. So, you know, he's got to think about how can I close that gap.
Yeah, and of course he's going to struggle to do it as well because Reaper's on a nice young set of mediums. Mark and Curly on hards. So, I mean, look at the lead that Reaper made out while those guys were fighting. He's got a 6.4 second lead. So Reaper will be grinning from year to year driving around here.
Alrighty, look at them all down the Wellington Straight. It's great to see Mark trying to get past his teammate now, Curly, who doesn't put up too much of a fight, it has to be said. Curly tucking in behind Mark as they exit Luffield. So Mark, 6.5 seconds, and at one point he was ahead only a few laps ago of Reaper. So yeah, Reaper's really taken advantage of that squabble from the section of cars behind, who were all fighting on that kind of pit exit section of the track. But yeah, he'll see whether he can close that gap. As you mentioned, Reaper on the softer of the two compounded tyres. But look at them all down the hangar straight, Cole. Who's this going to be under attack?
And there's so many drivers sitting here thinking, if these guys come together, I'm going to gain 5 places here. But look, as Shiesty outbrakes himself, has to dive down the inside to avoid the back of the Mercedes, and actually pulls off a brilliant manoeuvre. If
you watch this back, Shiesty, make sure you submit that clip for our steward show, because that's dive bombs are often frowned upon, but that was a lucky / pretty good one. Obviously, fair play to Jack as well for being aware, and slightly turning out of it. But I mean, Shiesty did make the apex, to be fair to him.
He did. Now, I'd love to know from Shiesty if that was a decision he made, or did he actually outbrake himself? If that is a planned manoeuvre, then that's an absolute belter. And it's put him in a bit more of a comfortable position, but still amongst this absolutely awesome train of cars.
Yeah, and you can just see how difficult it is, how much downforce you lose, and look at that. Shiesty was all over the back of Linkfeld, then loses the position to Jack Craig, just because the lack of downforce through Cops really hurt him there. And look at that, who struggled? Linkfeld struggled through Chapel. Is Jack now going to be able to take 4th position off of him? Linkfeld goes defensive, Jack thinks about it, doesn't get a chance to have a little sniff. And look at this Shiesty now, trying to go the outside. Is he going to send it down the inside again? Oh.
I thought about it. He thought about it. It made me think. I think I was lucky last time. I don't think I'll stab that again. But look how close Jack is behind Linfalk now. Linfalk, he's the cork in the bottle here, you feel. But he's got brilliant straight line speed. You can see he's actually pulled a little bit out on him through that flat out section.
Yeah, and I think this is helping Curly cement his 3rd place on the podium at the moment, because he's able now to pull a gap from a group of cars who he's similar paced around. Mark has taken 6 tenths, or 7 tenths, 8 tenths, 9 tenths out of Reaper, almost a second as we speak, and Jack finally getting the move done on Linkfelt. But it's not over yet, of course, because Jack won't have DRS as we head down the hangar straight. Look at Joel all over the back of the championship leader, Jamie, as well. Just less than a couple attempts right on board, and you can see how much you have to lift. But what he did there was he lifted early.
Oh, look at that.
Let Jamie have a little bit of loss of downforce as Linkfeld gets another penalty, and then takes advantage. So some very clever driving there from Joel.
Yeah, that was class. One thing that I'm noticing, Nick, is look at the gap at the top. Crawford is pulling in Reaper at a vast rate of knots. You know, it was only a couple of laps ago, and that gap was 6.4. We're down to 4.6 already. So Crawford showing great pace on his hard tyres.
Yeah, it definitely is. Obviously, there will be a crossover at some point, but only a lap between them on how old their tyres are. So Linkfelt down in 6th position at the moment, but well within this battle. Jack Craig 3.8 now behind Curly. What else we got? Ocon at the back of this chain, can't really make a move. Feel like he's got too high a downforce because he's almost so quick through these slow corners, but not able to do anything with it. Gamer James rounding out the top 10. Night Clear in 11th. Of course, you score points on one hub for the top 12, Cole.
Yes, and don't forget, there's also a point for the fastest lap in the top 10, and also a fastest lap in the bottom 10. So there's always something to fight for, regardless of what your position is. And this is turning in as we hit the halfway mark of this race. And this is getting very exciting. Crawford is pulling in Reaper at a vast rate of knots. And we've still got this incredible train as Jamie now was up in 7th. But Joel and now Ocon has got past Jamie. So Jamie now down to 9th.
Yeah, and of course Ocon in front of him is going to get the DRS from the car in front. So didn't see exactly what happened there. Look at this. Joel trying to get past Linkfelt now, who's going to come into the pits. As you said, he was the bottle. But look at this now. Shiesty on the back. Oh, 10 seconds. That's painful.
Oh, that's so disappointing for Linkfelt. He was having such a good race. And this, you know, this is, we say it every week, don't we, Nick? Please be careful of the pit entry because it can really hurt your race. Linkfelt now on a fresh set of hards, but he does have a 10-second time penalty, so he's got his work cut out for him now.
Alrighty, so we can see that the gap is coming down between the top two. We've been focusing on this battle just behind the Ferrari of Ocon, again looking to try and make a move, this time ahead of Joel in the Racing Bull. Now tell me, Cole, do you think Jamie's, you know, he had a little look there trying to get past Ocon, backed out of it. Do you think when you're leading the championship, subconsciously you think about it more in situations like that?
I think so. I think you're more conscious of what you can lose rather than what you can gain. So I think Jamie's just biding his time here a little bit. I think he might become a little bit more aggressive now towards the end of the race. But yeah, I think he's just thinking, let's play the percentages here. I am the championship leader. I have taken my gearbox penalty here. So let's just see how the race unfolds and see where he's going to go for here. But this is also, you know, another good result from Shiesty here. He's right on the back of Jack. And these two are, for me, are the most improved drivers from last season. Shiesty and Jack, they are really turning into class drivers now.
Yeah, they definitely are. And I think what's really interesting is the top two, the battle, because at 6.5 seconds, you thought maybe it was going to be too much for Mark to claw back, but it's now down to 2.5. Let's quickly jump on board with Shiesty as they're going side by side through Brooklands and Luffield. The McLaren going wide, but obviously we'll get the run on the Hamilton Straight, it's now called, as we head down towards Copse.
The Sir Lewis Hamilton Straight. Thank you very much, Nicholas. As Shiesty is chasing down, he's now actually got himself under pressure from Joel now. So him fighting Jack kind of offset him a bit, and now he's got the fast charging Joel right behind him. Is he going to be in danger down into Stowe? Let's find out. Joel not quite close enough. Obviously both drivers got DRS. Shiesty
Reaper's in.
lives on to fight another day.
Reaper's in for his second stop, so, and Curly's followed him in, so
no.
Curly gets a penalty. Oh, that's thrown the podium position right up in the air.
Oh, he's going to be absolutely fuming with that. He was driving the race of his life. But that has really scuppered his plans. He is now going to have to really light up the timesheets now and try and get that time back. I mean, it's going to be so hard. 10 seconds is a considerable amount, especially with how close this field is.
Yeah, obviously the undercut working beautiful for him. Down the inside goes Joel, and just about gets the car under control. So that was a Shiesty-like move, shall we say. And Matt, yeah, I mean, gets it done. So I'm not sure how happy Shiesty will be. It was a late one, but fair play to him. Managed to get the car under control, and Mark now leading this race on that hard compounded tyres. Will he try and extend and go for a set of softs at the end? Will he pit for another set of hards? I think, Cole, he wants to avoid Reaper getting too much of an undercut this time around.
Yes, I think that's the key thing from Mark here, is that he can't afford Reaper to get that undercut up too high. So, but it all depends on what strategy that Crawford has got. You know, oh look, we got a flood of cars coming in, 3 drivers in the pit lane.
Yeah, so Reaper gets past the Ferrari of Nightclear on that lap. Nightclear squeezing to the inside, so not giving him too much room, even though they're on alternate strategies. So racing hard, that's what we want to see. Mark stays out, Okan stays out, and Jamie stays out. Gamer James moves up into 4th position. He's going to be next on Reaper's list. And of course, if Reaper or Mark win this race, Cole, they will be new winners for One Hub.
They certainly will. We've only actually had 2 winners so far this season, Jamie and of course F1 Addict, who's left the league. So anyone who doesn't win, if Jamie doesn't convert this into a victory, we're going to have another new victory, a new race winner this season, which is just making, you know, our point this morning when Jess and I were talking of how close this team is and how many various drivers. And look at that! Oh,
Reaper
so
trying to squeeze through. Yeah, trying to squeeze through. He obviously wants to get this job done so he can take advantage of the undercut. But at the moment, Gamer James not making it easy for him. And look at that again, getting pretty close as he makes the pass this time. Will Gamer James be able to do anything down the hangar straight with the helping hand of DRS? I think it's too much of a gap.
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to close. I don't think he's going to be close enough to have a go. And that was a very important move from Reaper. He couldn't afford to be stuck behind James for too long. He needs to build this undercut. Mark still not in the pit lane, but Okan and Jamie are.
Yep, so we'll get confirmation as Reaper will slot into 2nd place shortly enough of what the gap is. Maybe Mark's going to go for the soft compounded tyres, Cole, and absolutely lay it. Light up the timing screens as Curly is doing just that now. He's back up into his rightful 3rd position, but of course will have a 10-second penalty. Let's keep an eye. Linkfelt could help him out here again, Cole, that potentially, if he's able to hold everyone up again, you know, could help Curly cement that 3rd place, even though he's got that penalty.
Yeah, so Curly's really got to go for it now. He's just got to, you know, put caution to the wind and drag every tenth he can out of those sets of tyres. And if Lindfalk can help, you know, hold up the pack behind him, not that he would do it to help Curly, but he might be able, you know, he might be struggling on those tyres towards the end because they're already 4 laps old, Nick.
I feel like Joel's had a frustrating race in the sense that every single lap he's been tucked up behind another car's gearbox. Not really able to have too much fresh air in that Red Bull at the moment. The gap coming down between Reaper and Mark, so Mark is just hoping that in the later stint he's going to be able to do the opposite. Obviously no virtual safety cars, no safety cars, hardly any even yellow flags here tonight, Cole. We picked a clean one to commentate on around Silverstone, and the battle at the moment for the race lead as Mark stays out another lap, so surely he's going for a set of softs at the end.
Surely, but he's going to give himself a lot of work to do, but he's going to have a big tyre offset to help him try and chase Reaper down. As Shiesty sets the fastest lap of the race in the McLaren in his quest to chase down the Red Bull of Joel.
I think the problem's going to be here for Mark is that he's going to come out in that group of cars again, Cole, as Fox sets the fastest lap of the race for outside the top 10. So Mark's going to come out in that traffic, Cole, that is, I think, going to prevent him from utilising those first few laps on that soft compounded tyres.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be using those tyres to try and do overtaking manoeuvres rather than try and reel Reaper in. You can see the gap now is already down to 15.5. I'm wondering whether he's seeing that gap tumble and maybe thinking, do you know what, I should probably box a bit earlier, but let's just have a little look. And Mark is in the pit lane, so I will keep an eye on him and I will tell you exactly what tyres that the Alpine driver's going on.
And I'll keep an eye on Joel, who is again tucked up behind the car's gearbox. 6 attempts as they exit onto the hangar straight, and he's flashing on his ears, so he's not going to be able to make a move this time around.
So Mark puts on medium sets of tyres, so he decided against the soft runners. But importantly, where is he going to come out? Now, if he's going to come out near Curly, Curly might let him go and help his teammate, and there goes Curly. Quite
Here comes Lingfelt.
Gap, but importantly, huge for Mark. He gets in front of Lindfalk. That is key to his race as Jamie sets the fastest lap, showing his pace now.
Yeah, of course, an extra point out for grabs for the, as you mentioned, Cole, the driver who gets the fastest lap inside the top 10 and the driver who gets it outside the top 10. But I mean, that gap between Mark and Reaper is now 12.9 seconds. So both of the gaps, Cole, has come from Reaper doing the undercut.
Yeah, it shows how very, very strong the undercut is around here, and this is going to be very useful information for P3, P2 and P1 drivers. It's given me an idea already. But that is, you know, the disadvantage of going first. You're the one who's got to make the call, really. But Reaper, 10-second lead over Curly. Curly with 10-second time penalty. Can he try and stretch that out and keep himself on the podium?
Yeah, it's going to really drop him down the order. I think there was another driver, Lingfelt. Let's have a look at penalties, actually. Yeah, so Lingfelt has 16, Curly has 10, Oaken has 3. That will help Jamie. Nightclear down in 11th, trying to get inside the top 10, also has 3. Fox has 3. Helvector has 3, and Kenzie has 9 seconds of penalty. Everyone has now completed their 2 stops. Let's jump on board with Nightclear because we haven't had a chance to ride too much. Both drivers using a little bit of sausage curb. The Gamer James in front using a lot on that second part. And what can the Ferrari do?
Yeah, Ferrari now chasing down the Williams of Gamer James. Both on 3-lap old tyres, but obviously Nightclear on the medium tyre, James on the hard, so he does have a tyre advantage. Can he make the use of it? He's going to come up to the DRS. Now, is that going to be enough to get him alongside and into the top 10? Let's have a look. No, not quite, Nick.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where you've either got to dump your ERS and get the job done, or you want to just tuck in behind and wait until the hangar straight to get it completed. Speaking of not being able to complete a move, look at Joel still tucked up right behind Jack Craig, who now will have DRS from Lingfelt. So I can see Lingfelt losing 2 positions here as Mark gets ahead of his teammate. 10 seconds now the gap.
Yeah, so Curly's got a 5-second lead over Lindfalk at the minute, but of course it's very, very close behind. Now, will these drivers fighting, will these be able to help Curly gain a lead as Jamie puts himself into 8th position? Oh, fighting, brilliant driving from Jamie there. That's a lovely move on the Ferrari of Ocon. Can he now close the gap to his teammate?
Wonder if Ocon will try and get this back. We'll have to wait and see. Jamie's flashing, saving ERS. We know Ocon's good in this first section, these series of corners. The battle, by the way, for 4th position, 3rd, essentially, with Curly's penalty, is heating up. Curly is going to be begging Lingfelt not to let that group of cars through.
Yeah, and fair play to Lindfalk. He is defending beautifully at the minute, and he's got a train of cars behind him who are all desperate to overtake him, but he's defending brilliant. Oh,
who was that? Looked like someone went off the track there. Joel's off the track.
Joel
That's a strange place.
Then. Really strange. I just saw this flicker of white
Same
go across the screen. I'm just trying to see if he's got any front wing damage. Let me...
Oh, he's struggling to turn the car. Yeah, he's got no front wing. He's got no front wing.
Nothing at all. Oh, that's disastrous for Joel. I don't know what happened there. That was such a strange incident.
Oh, 2 McLarens going side by side. Jamie goes around the outside. at Stowe of Shiesty. I mean, it's cost him the DRS of Jack in front, who's still stuck behind Lingfelt, by the way. Curly just need 4 seconds in these last 4 laps to keep that podium.
He's doing his absolute damnedest. Now, what he is doing, importantly, is he's staying within, or just about, within DRS and Mark, and that's key. He's getting a toe, and he's getting that DRS, and that's what he needs to do, and just keep pulling out as Mark gets 3 seconds onto his time, and Curly overtakes Mark.
What's happened there, then?
So I don't know whether Mark has made a mistake. Yeah, he must have, because he's lost at least 2 seconds there. So yeah. Mark making a mistake, and we got a yellow flag in Sector 1 as well.
Joel's in the pits for a set of softs, so he'll be looking to... What's this yellow flag for? He'll be looking to set the fastest lap outside the top 10. That's all he can kind of go for now. Mark is back ahead of Curly, so Curly's made a big mistake because Lingfeld's now on the back of Curly. So what's going on with these Alpines? Oh, someone's on the grass. Oh. That was Jack.
Who was that? Yeah, that was Jack. So there's a lot of mistakes happening now. Is it the tyre wear? You know, is it this? You know, we haven't had a break for these drivers. We haven't had no safety car, no VSC. So there is the concentration levels dropping a bit. But Curly, you're right, he's made a huge mistake and he's lost about 6 seconds.
So he's basically lost that podium place at the moment. Lingfeld will lose it as well. So at the moment, Jack's going to finish 3rd, Jamie's going to finish 5th, Shicey's going to finish 6th, and potentially Ocon will jump a place. Gamer James as well. Gamer James had a quiet race, but up into 9th, hoping to gain some positions as all the drivers cross the line and penalties come into play. Obviously, Ocon's got one too. So, yeah, exciting end to this race, Cole. Not necessarily for the lead, but for this final podium place, it's all to play for.
It really is, and drivers, you know, these drivers will know they can sniff a podium now, and they're going to be really gunning for it. And you can see Jack, he is moving around that car, trying to put off Lindfalk, trying to make sure that he knows he's coming. What's hurting Jack at this point is that Curly is giving Lindfalk DRS, but look at the run he gets through Maggots and Beckett's. So much more confidence. Is he going to be able to have a go down into Stowe?
I mean, at the end of the day, he's going to get the position of both of them anyway. So even if he just stays stuck behind a DRS, he just wants to make sure that Jamie, who's behind him, doesn't take advantage. And then I think Jack will take the lead of the championship.
I think he will. Yeah, I think this is why Jack is quite keen to overtake Lindfalk. Not so much Lindfalk, but like you said, Nick, to keep Jamie at bay.
Curly makes a mistake, and or Lingfelt, one of them made a mistake, and look at this. They're putting Jack in a position where he's almost going to have to make the move rather than wait for a couple of laps. And Jack pushing Curly through that left-hander, and Jamie's just about to get involved as well. Jack is getting the move now done on Curly, who's dropped off a bit, obviously stopped earlier on. And now what can they do about Lingfelt, who's, you know, had a supreme race to fight back from last? It's just that 10 seconds is really going to hurt him as Joel sets the fastest lap, unsurprisingly, on that fresh, soft compounder tyres.
Yeah, so that'll be a point for Joel. I'm really looking forward to speaking with Joel and find out what happened to him, because he was sitting very comfy and then had a very strange incident. As Shiesty gets 3 seconds, that's not going to help his cause towards the end of the race. But Jamie now, can he do anything with these top 3? He's just about in the DRS of Curly. Curly really is going to plummet down the order now. I think he's going to be behind at least Shiesty at this stage.
Yeah, so those obviously speeding in the pit lane penalties that Lingfelt and Curly got really going to hurt them. But a man who's played the strategy right all day today is Reaper. Currently in first position, only got 2/3 of a lap. And what's this happened? Yellow flag. Fox is off in the Aston Martin just before he starts his final lap. But Reaper, he hasn't really put a foot wrong all day. He had a little bit of a battle with Mark in the first stint and then went for 2 undercuts. You have to say it was the right strategy call because he didn't lose the time battling.
Yeah, exactly that. As the yellow flag is out for Kenzie. Yeah, Reaper's just driven so well. His strategy has been absolutely perfect. You know, he's made his manoeuvres when he felt he needed to, and he's going to come home and he's going to be the 3rd winner this season in 4 races in the P4 tier in the Red Bull driver.
Yeah, and of course, it's going to be his first win in One Hub Racing, so even the sweeter as he comes across the line to take the first win in the P4 tier. Congratulations to Reaper. He wins the Silverstone Grand Prix. Thoroughly deserved. And I feel like the gap that he's got isn't necessarily just on pace as Mark crosses line in second. I feel like it's due to the fact that he didn't have to battle. The battling really crossed these guys. Linkfeld crossed the line but jumped down the order. So Jack finishes 3rd, takes the championship lead. Jamie finishes in 4th. Curly finishes 5th. So he does keep 5th position. Shiesty jumps up to 6th. Linkfeld finishes 7th at the moment. Yeah, Ocon I don't think is going to jump ahead. Nope, but Gamer James jumps ahead of him into 8th position. Ocon 9th. The other Ferrari finishes 10th. And yeah, that is your top 10. Fox, of course, and Joel will get points. Joel will get point for the fastest lap as well. So he'll be disappointed with his race. Just shows you one mistake. When there's no safety cars, it can really cost you, Cole.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, Curly still a brilliant result to get a top 5. I'm sure he'll still be happy with that result. After speaking to him this morning, Jack would be delighted with that podium. And of course, a maiden One Hub victory for Reaper. Absolutely brilliant. And, you know, this is a bit of a cameo from Nick and I, but what a race that we saw there. Brilliant overtakes. I mean, I saw at least 6 manoeuvres I want to see again in the submit a clip section of our Discord. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyable race. Lots of action, overtaking, you know, and no safety cars. Although it's exciting for us viewers, you know, it was great to see some really good racing where we didn't need any safety cars. So congratulations to the P4 tier. A brilliant result. And Cole, we need to pick our sim racing setup driver of the day. Because I'm such a gentleman, I will let you go first.
Ooh, okay. Do you know what? This might sound mad, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to give it to Curly. And the reason why I'm going to give it to Curly is, yes, he made that error with the 10 seconds, but he never gave up. He kept pushing. He kept, you know, he made that mistake, but I felt as though he had to push. And that is his best result for One Hub. So my sim racing setups driver of the day goes to Curly. So my question for you, Curly, is, are you pleased with 5th? It is more than what you hoped for in our interview, but obviously the 10 seconds cost you a better result. But are you still happy with your first top 5 in One Hub?
Great nomination, great question, Cole. I did scroll down the order, so hopefully everyone was able to see the results. And my sim racing setup driver of the day nominee is I got to give it to Reaper. Obviously his first One Hub Racing win, obviously first win of the season, you know, kind of pushes him towards and into the championship fight, which is, you know, the more the merrier. And my question for Reaper is, in the first stint, you had a good battle with Mark. Did you expect that to continue throughout the rest of the race, or were you surprised to see that your strategy enabled you to have a bit of a walk away towards the end of the race?
Yeah, a thoroughly deserved driver of the day, and I love seeing drivers when they get their first race win with us. It's always very, very special. And what a way to do it. Yeah, but I agree with what you said, Nick. That wasn't just pace. That was getting the pit stop timing right, getting the strategy right, getting that track position. Absolutely brilliant. And there's Reaper in the chat as well. And yeah, genuinely pleased for him.
Alrighty, well, as you said, it was a kind of a one-off for Col and I in the commentary box this season. But nevertheless, we're there every Friday for our Steward show, and obviously Cole's there in most of the pre-race shows this season as well. So still opportunity for us to get involved in kind of the commentary side of things. But thoroughly enjoyable evening here tonight. We can't hang around too long because we got the P3 tier starting at 4:30, P2 at 6, and then Cole, you'll be racing in the P1 tier at 7:30 tonight. So lots of action here at One Hub on Sunday afternoons and evenings. Obviously, the Australian Grand Prix early this morning took place in real life, so plenty of F1 on this Sunday. We mentioned next week, Cole, is a break week because it's Mother's Day here in the UK, so hope all our drivers and community members spoil their mum if they're able to. I know I will be taking mine for breakfast and my mother-in-law for dinner. So,
yes, I'll be taking my my mum for dinner as well. So Rach and I are taking her to a nice little restaurant in Pontyclean and have a little bit of a break and come back recharged for Hungary.
Well, it's time to just say thank you to everyone watching. Thank you to our drivers racing tonight. And thank you to our partners and sponsors. I'm just going to run through them quickly before we head off. SimGrid, of course, we run all of our championships through them. And we get a lot of new members to the community through them. So big thanks for their support. Vespertine, of course, you can get your One Hub Racing merchandise through them. And plenty of opportunities to win One Hub Racing merchandise this season as well. Delta.app, of course, our title sponsors. So Delta.app One Hub Racing is the new name for 2026. And a big thanks to their support. Make sure you download their app today. Over 18s only. Next Level Racing, we're still waiting for them to confirm the prizes for season 28. But they've been a big supporter for the league for many, many years with their sim racing chairs, stands, equipment, all sorts. Sim racing setups, Cole, they've got a sale on at the moment on F125 setups. No doubt that when the new game comes out, they will get on setups for them quickly straight away. And of course, they update them as the game cycle develops and updates and patches happen. So make sure to head over and check them out. There is a discount code on our Discord. And finally, Pure Sim Gear, sim racing socks and sim racing gloves to gives you those extra comfort and temps. Cole, final thoughts before we say goodbye.
Well, just a huge thank you to all the drivers for putting such a brilliant race on. Very, very clean. Some aggressive manoeuvres, some brilliant manoeuvres. And this championship now is really hotting up. So thank you to all the drivers. Thank you to all the viewers. Don't forget, International Women's Day. Join P3 to support our favourite Jess in her quest to try and get into the top 3. She had a bit of a disaster last week. Can she make up for it?
All to play for in the P3 tier happening live very shortly. I believe you got Lawrence and Popper in the commentary box for the P3 tier tonight. So yeah, big thanks to everyone supporting us. It was nice to be back in the commentary box for season 28 and one of my favourite tracks. We can't say if it'll happen again, Cole, before the season ends, but we'll be there for the steward's office on Friday. Make sure you submit those clips if you're a P4 driver rewatching this stream. And best of luck to all the drivers racing later on, and happy Mother's Day to all the mums for next Sunday. Thank you and good afternoon/evening.